Hey, real quick, I, along with a few other YouTubers, are giving away a Nintendo Switch along with Zelda and Amiibos. The link is down below and it has all the details you will need on how to sign up and everything. Right down there. Click it. Today is the 10th anniversary of Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl, at least for its Western release. And as rumors, theories, and predictions go, the big one right now is that Diamond and Pearl are getting remakes next, and that it will be the game after Sun and Moon. I mean, that seems pretty predictable, especially considering how much my 4+ hour theory on Pokemon rebooting needs that to be the case. And speaking of the reboot theory, that new Pokemon movie, it's a retelling of the first season of Pokemon, but in a completely new way, completely different companions, newer gen Pokemon are present, though rare, and yeah, it's quite literally a reboot. If this movie spawns a new anime series, then yes! Anyway, did you notice that the prominent Pokemon in that trailer are Gen 1 Pokemon, Sun and Moon Pokemon, and both of those make sense. It's a retelling of Gen 1, so Gen 1 Pokemon, and Sun and Moon is the most recent generation, so Sun and Moon Pokemon. But the other largest group, the largest, most prominent Pokemon in that trailer were Generation 4 Pokemon. Piplup and Lucario. Both Lucario and Piplup were very important to the Pokemon anime and movies. Is this perhaps saying that Gen 4 is making a resurgence? The anime and movies have always loosely followed the games. Even when the remakes come out, the anime finds a way to still promote those games. And this may be how it's going to do for the Gen 4 remakes. But of course, there is more to it than that. GameFreak puts Easter eggs and references to other games in their series all the time, but when people start noticing specific gens or regions being mentioned more than others, they start speculating. Even in X and Y, there were references to a faraway region across the ocean, and here is a souvenir tiki from it. Not to mention the overabundance of references to Hoenn and the Gen 3 Pokemon, and the Gen 3 remake was shortly after. Anyway, so let's go through a bunch of references Sun and Moon have that may be hints to Gen 4 remakes coming in the near future. Firstly, Munchlax. Generation 4 gave us a few baby Pokemon to previously existing Pokemon. Munchlax was one of them. Munchlax also played a big part in the anime, and in Sun and Moon, the big bonus for getting the game early, that they had advertised a lot, was that you would get a Munchlax. Type Null is heavily linked with the Generation 4 mythical Pokemon Arceus, so much so that its ability is called the Arceus system. Not to mention how Sun and Moon is full of alchemic references, and Arceus fits the alchemic Gnostic Christian version of God perfectly, and even Diamonds and Pearls line the gates of heaven, and all sorts of things. Huge video series about it right here, one of these corners, also the description. Plus, Type Null being a chimera made of various parts of Pokemon may be a reference to how one gains control of infinity energy or the Azoth in alchemy, essentially making them godlike, like God. Arceus. It's crazy, it's crazy. The post-game story to Generation 4, for the remakes at least, should definitely take advantage of that. Now then, Hawaii. Hawaii itself contains 8 main islands and plenty more small ones. The Alola region, which is based on it, only has 4 main islands, so they had to cut its inspiration in half. But they made sure to use the island of Oahu. In Sun and Moon, that same island is known as Mele Mele Island, and it features these 2 landmarks, this volcano and this harbor. In real life, these same locations are known as Diamond Head and Pearl Harbor. X and Y had a lot of missing Pokemon in its national decks. These were mostly Hoenn Pokemon, Gen 3, so sure enough, the next game were the Gen 3 remakes, so that you could go on and complete the national decks. And Sun and Moon is the same way with Sinnoh Pokemon. And despite having so few Sinnoh Pokemon, it's good to remember that a big chunk of the Pokemon added in Generation 4 were pre-evolutions and evolutions of already existing Pokemon. So the already existing Pokemon that are in Sun and Moon would also have its evolutions in there. And if we take all those away, we're left with only 15 Gen 4 Pokemon in Sun and Moon. Lucario and Garchomp take up 5 of those slots, and Garchomp being a land shark, which Hawaii has a lot of mythology about, makes sense. And Lucario is just a really popular furry, so that also makes sense. Where are all the other Sinnoh Pokemon gonna come from, eh? There are also universal or dimensional wormholes to Ultra Space where the Ultra Beasts reside. And these are similar in nature to the dimensional rifts that were present throughout Gen 4. In fact, as of recently, the Pokemon games have been getting a lot more inspiration from the idea of dimensions and multiverses. And Cyrus, the Gen 4 antagonist, wanted total universal domination so that he may destroy it. It feels to me like everything in Pokemon as of late is leading up to a climax in a Generation 4 remake. And when you start dealing with the Pokemon who have total control over time and space, the Gen 4 legendaries, you can start really messing with multiverse stuff. Speaking of the antagonist, when battling Team Skull, the background colors are that of Diamond and Pearl. Now, that could just be a coincidence, since those colors do go well together regardless, but it may also be hinting at Team Skull playing a part in the Gen 4 remakes. After all, in Sun and Moon, they are foreigners brought in, spoiler alert, by the Aether Foundation to work for them. Team Galactic in the Gen 4 remakes could do the same exact thing. And back to speaking dimensional rifts. In the Dimensional Research Lab in Sun and Moon, there are books detailing the powers of Palkia, Giratina, and Bronzong. All Gen 4 Pokemon with this ability in one form or another. The Aether Foundation are taking deep interest in them. Pokemon Sun and Moon, like any game these days, gets data mined pretty early to reveal all of its secrets and spoil the game for everyone. One of these secrets was that the game contains every single Generation 4 key item, the same way X and Y did with Gen 3. Something to think about. In the battle tree, you fight Cynthia, Gen 4's champion, though you fight a lot of other prominent characters too. But in this case, she quotes her exact lines from before, and considering how much she plays into the story of both games and the anime, her being here may be a part of her character development, at least more so in the anime. And that is just before she develops even further in the possibly upcoming remakes. And one other side thing is this. The official Japanese Pokemon YouTube channel posted a video not too long ago that was essentially a storybook for children. What makes it interesting though, as you can see, the main characters are the Gen 4 starters. And there are plenty of Gen 4 Pokemon in it too, which have all been pretty irrelevant for years until now. As if to reintroduce Generation 4 Pokemon to a new generation of children. All in all though, this isn't a question of is a Gen 4 remake coming, as much as a question of when is a Generation 4 remake coming. Pokemon seems to be very keen on its remakes. These hints I just gave you seem to point to the remakes being very soon, but that doesn't necessarily mean immediately following Sun and Moon. After all, X and Y also had Sun and Moon references, despite Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire being in between them. We may have a Pokemon Stars come out first, or maybe a completely different new game on the Switch. And then the Generation 4 remakes could be Switch games too. That was part of my prediction a long while back in this series also. In fact, if in this series I nailed down the origins and thematic elements of Pokemon as of late, then yes, Gen 4 remakes will be happening soon, be it on the 3DS or the Switch. And they will be cataclysmic. But what do you think? And what would you want in a Gen 4 remake? Personally, the one problem I had with Gen 4, it being too slow, is already fixed with the newer style of Pokemon games. I just want the remakes to explore the lore even deeper and give us the almighty rage of Arceus. Ha! I'm looking forward to it. But how about you? Let me know down in the comments, and until next time, stay awesome, and remember, Switch giveaway, link right there. Toodaloo. Hey, real quick, I, along with a few other YouTubers, are giving away a Nintendo Switch along with Zelda and Amiibos. The link is down below and it has all the details you will need on how to sign up and everything. Right down there. Click it. Today is the 10th anniversary of Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl, at least for its Western release. And as rumors, theories, and predictions go, our theory on Pokemon rebooting needs that to be the case. And speaking of the reboot theory, that new Pokemon movie! It's a retelling of the first season of Pokemon, but in a completely the big one right now is that Diamond and Pearl are getting remakes next, and that it will be the game after Sun and Moon. I mean, that seems pretty predictable, especially considering how much my 4+ hours